Kלים Perik Ches Mishnah Daled. This is one of the most fundamental Mishnahs dealing with Kli Cheres. This should have been really the Hakdama to all the prokim of Kli Cheres. Kedera Shina Suna Batanu. We have a Kli Cheres, the outside oven, and there's a plate inside the tanur, completely inside. Hasheretz Batanu. If there's a sheretz in the tanur, hakadera tahira. The plate is tahir. Under the rule, she'en kli cheres mitame kelim. If the sheretz would have been, of course, inside the toich of the kadera, then of course both the kadera and the tanur will become tummy because the sheretz is in the toich of both kelim. But because the sheretz is now not in the toich of the kadera itself, the sheretz isn't metame the kadera. This is the important difference between the way sheretz is metame in the toich of a kli cheres as opposed to, in contrast with mace to an oil. Mace in an oil, we say command the malit, some of the mace fills up the whole oil. But with the sheretz inside a toich of a kli cheres, we don't see the sheretz fills up the whole kli cheres and therefore it enters the airspace, the toich of the kadera. The sheretz is metame megzeres hakosuv when it is in the toich of a kli cheres. Torah says, then the kli cheres becomes tamei, but we don't say it fills it up. And if the sheretz is not in the kadera remains tar. The sheretz doesn't expand and metame everything in its wake. The kadera also can't pick up tumah from the kli cheres, because if the sheretz is an avatuma, the tanur becomes a rishon. It's as if it touched the sheretz, and a rishon can only be metame oichlun umashkin. The kli cheres can only be metame oichlun umashkin that find itself in its airspace. Cannot be metame other kelim that find itself in its airspace, because other kelim can't become a sheni. That's the basic rule. However, now the Mishnah is going to throw up an interesting anomaly. If in this plate, hoyabah mashka tefech, there's also a little bit of liquid in this plate. First of all, nitma. The liquid, of course, becomes tummy because the liquid finds itself also, it's in the plate, true, but it's also in the toich of the tanur. Of course, if the plate would be towards the edge of the tanur in such a way that some of the plate was inside the tanur, but the pesach of the plate was actually outside, we'd have the special atzal of toich mentioned in the beginning of the perek. But this plate is completely inside the tanur. So any mashka tefech which finds itself inside the plate becomes tummy from the sheretz directly. That's simple. But we now have an interesting thing for timma'ah. The mashka tefech is now able to be metame the plate. This is a special rule midrabanan. The tanur is a rishon because it picks up tumah from the sheretz. And really, it should be making the oichlin or mashkin inside it a sheni. But the Rabbanon were geyser and mashkin, when they touch a rishon, they were geyser that the mashkin themselves become a rishon. That's gezerah number one. As an extension to that gezerah, they also said that such mashkin, which are rishonim, are also able to be metame kelim midrabanon. So that the keli becomes a sheni. This is the only case of a keli being a sheni. So we've got a case here that the kadera itself, the plate itself, is not picking up tumah from the sheretz because the sheretz isn't inside its toich, and the kadera isn't picking up tumah from the outside kli cheres and the tanur because the kadera can't become a sheni by touching a rishon. However, it's become a sheni because it touched the mashkin, which became tumah from the sheretz. So harei zo'ima, the kadera turns round to the mashka inside it and said, look at this anomaly. Metamayich lo timuni. The thing that was metame you, the mashkin, i.e. the sheretz, was not able to be metame me directly because it wasn't inside me. But va'ata, you, who picked up tumah from the sheretz, timei soni, you are able to be metame me. That is an anomaly which is thrown up by this gzeirah rabbanon that mashkin become a rishon, and they are able to be metame, a kli, to make the kli into a sheni, to pasel, truma and kodshim.